Well, hello and welcome to my tutoring. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jane. I'm a textile artist living in the middle of Scotland, and about 5 minutes from Loch Lomond, if you know Scotland. And I run a business that is called Snapdragon Life and an online creativity club called the Studio Club. And on Fridays, I make a video for here, and it's about the natural world, or it's about creativity, or it's about living in a slightly different way and perhaps being a little bit nicer to ourselves. And this week I am going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about habits. I had originally thought that I would do a creativity thing, but I have just spent the whole morning videoing tutorials for the Studio Club for bundle dye, dyeing on paper, and the studio is a mess, and I'll go down and tidy it after I've done this. But I just thought, I really just want to sit and chat to you. Next week we will do something creative. I'm thinking of showing you how to bundle dye yarn and get really lovely variegated yarn from petals and flowers and onion skins. But anyway, that will be next week. This week I want to talk about habits. And now I have a dog barking. That must be the postman. Yep, now I've got two dogs barking. I will pause this, get the post and come back. It was a delivery of Neapolitan coffee, which was a subscription that I got for my birthday. So, where was I? Habits. Yes, I want to talk about habits because I think that often we assume that the things that we do which we want to change, these habits that we want to change, the reason that we can't do it is lack of willpower, and we beat ourselves up about that, and we kind of push ourselves into a category of person who just can't change, just can't resist, has no willpower. Now, I don't believe in willpower. I think it's just something that we have made up. The way to change a habit, it turns out, is to change the circumstances, to change the pattern, and to make it really easy for you to behave in a different way. So my example for this is nails. Now look at my beautiful, beautiful nails. This is an very dark purpley grey from OPI, called something like You Know About Jack, or anyway. Because I know that people will ask, oh, what is the name of that nail polish? And I can't remember, but it is OPI, and it's got Jacques, as in the French for Jack, in the title. So for 50 years, I'm 55, and for 50 years at least, I have been a nail biter and a thumb sucker. And it drove my parents mad. It particularly drove my dad mad. And he got some sort of brown liquid to paint on my nails. I think maybe bitter aloes or something like that. It made no difference. I just chewed my way through it. And the thing is, if you had spoken to me, I'd have said, I don't bite my nails. I never, ever found myself biting my nails. And yet, there they were, bitten. And I bit them when I read as a child. So I would be all sort of like curled up on a window seat with a book, hiding from everybody so that I could actually read the book. In excitement, probably. But anyway, I had no nails. And then I made various attempts over the years to grow them, and I would grow them a little bit, and then I'd get distracted, get anxious. I would be stuck at a traffic light, and suddenly I wouldn't have any nails left, because that would tend to be one of the kind of things. And I had really got to the point that I thought, there's nothing I can do about it. I am a nail biter and I'm going to have these hands. And then I started doing YouTube, and I became more and more kind of like, upset's not the right word, but it's not what I wanted my hands to look like in a video. You know, if I'm doing stuff and I'm videoing the doing of it, I don't really want these kind of like ragged, bitten to the quick nails on there. And then one of my younger daughter's friends, who was also a really bad nail biter, but not quite as entrenched. And she's a teacher, and when she started teaching, she decided that she wanted to have nicer nails. So she began to get them manicured, you know, like these really bitten nails manicured. And they were bright and jazzy, and they had decals on them. And Shanna's just brilliant. And very, very quickly, you know, maybe 6 weeks, she suddenly had nails. And I thought, oh, well, you know, there's only 6 weeks to grow nails. Maybe I could give it a go. And I could go and find somewhere to get a manicure. Now, I have never had a manicure. The idea of going in to a nail bar like this, you know, with my bitten nails and them looking and going, well, what do you expect us to do with them? You know, maybe stick something on the top. I found really embarrassing. But then I found that Tinanog, which is the holistic centre I've mentioned before, where I go for massages and Reiki and things, one of the therapists there also does nails. She's called Jane Thompson, and she's just brilliant. And it so turned out that she loves rehabilitating nail biters. So she just gave me this beautiful manicure with my teeny weeny nails, no free edges, nothing. She did it in a kind of a gel, so that, and we did it in bright, bright red. And then that was it. I didn't bite my nails after that. They were a different colour, and I could see them when they were here. So if I was reading, I could see them, and I wasn't going to bite them. Having on quite a heavy gel made them a different weight, so I was really aware of where they were. And that was it. I went back, we went for polish, because then I can do it myself. Oh my goodness, they are so barky today. I hope that you can see them, hear them. I hope that you can hear me, rather, because they've gone far away. So here we are, 6 weeks on, and I'm able to paint my own nails, which is quite important because I don't want to keep having to run back to Jane to get them sorted. And look at the length. Right, well, that was a parcel for somebody else. And I have now shut the dogs up in the house, so I hope that you can't hear them barking quite so much. So, nails. Every week there's something. Right, so the first thing that I was wanting to talk about was nails, and how it's not willpower, because if it was willpower, I would have managed to stop in those 50 years. It is changing the thing. It is looking at it in a different way. It is making things easy. And the second thing that I want to change is a much more ongoing thing, and that is my relationship with my phone. I first started trying to disentangle myself from my phone about 4 years ago, I think. I really don't like the way that I'm always aware of it, that it's kind of like here, like there's a pull, tug somehow, and I've never been able to quite work out what it is. So I started with all of the sensible things. You know, there are no notifications on my phone. So it's not forever beeping and bleeping and things. I have my phone away from about 8 at night, and often at weekends. If we're going out, I don't take my phone. And yet, day to day in the house, I find myself just drawn to it in a kind of time-wasting way. And, time wasting is one thing. And then probably about a year ago, I thought, I'm not thinking as deeply as I used to. I'm not remembering things as well as I used to. My concentration seems a bit short. And I thought, well, it might be Addison's disease, certainly chronic fatigue. There's a lot of brain fog goes on. If you meet me when I'm tired, I'm not very good at stringing words together. It might be perimenopause. Lots of people say that their memory gets a bit dodgy during perimenopause. It might just be aging. Not quite as sharp as it used to be. But I have my suspicions that it is tied up with the phone. So I'll give you an example of what used to happen. So I would be sitting, reading a book. Might be fiction that mentions somewhere that I don't know much about. Then I think, I wonder what the population of that place is. I wonder exactly where it is. And off I am to find my phone and to Google whatever it is. And then I Google that and I Google something else, and I'm somehow, I've checked Instagram and I've maybe replied to some messages and looked at my emails and what is there on Vinted. Oh my goodness, yeah, well, there's that. Do I really want that? Would it go with my wardrobe? And then, I have lost time, which is important, but also I've lost that deep thinking. And that's what I wanted to change. So I thought when I went on holiday, that would be a really good chance to experiment. Now, I was away for 3 weeks, and I can't really justify doing that without being in touch with work. Now, I love my work, but I need to really both do it and restrict it, put boundaries around it, so that I can still have a proper holiday, proper rest. So I take my laptop and I set up a little office wherever I am, and I work set hours. So I'll work half an hour in the morning, maybe half an hour before tea. And that's when I will do, any emailing, any making videos for people in Bloom, that kind of thing, responding to stuff. What I wanted to experiment with when I was away was how I could really minimize what was on my phone, so it was just the things that I would actually need if I was out and about and away from that laptop. And I really looked at it and I thought, hardly anything is needed. So I took everything off my phone apart from WhatsApp, because my children or my parents might need to get in touch with me, and I muted every other person. To texts, exactly the same. There are a couple of people who are close and don't use WhatsApp, just use text. I kept my pedometer on it, though my sore foot meant that my steps were really, really bad. And I kept like a web browser, Safari in this case, because it is really useful to be able to look up, restaurant reviews or what's the opening hours of something and so on. And what I didn't want to do was to go, oh, I'm not using my phone, and make everybody else that I was with kind of have to use their phone. I wanted to find a way of changing my phone so that it is a tool for me. It is something that I actively want, but I'm not sort of enthralled to it. And I also had maps. everything else went. So, Instagram and eBay, Vinted, everything went. I just had this tiny amount of things. And for 3 weeks, that was me. And it was magical. I didn't think about my phone at all unless I wanted to take a photo, unless I wanted to record something. Otherwise, it was just a thing. It no longer was something that I kept being drawn to. No longer became a way, something that would really waste my time. I read 13 books while I was away. I did lots of embroidery. I did some drawing. I wrote lots of plans in a notebook because I wasn't allowing myself to go near my phone. So, holiday, fair enough. The interesting thing has been, what do I put back now that I'm here? And I can tell you one, the emails have not gone back on, because realistically, if I'm going to respond to an email effectively, then I really want to be at my computer. Otherwise, I don't have the right information. I can't look at it clearly. I don't need emails while I'm sort of out and about. Social media, Facebook hasn't gone back. I don't like Facebook. I have YouTube, the back end of YouTube there, and generally YouTube, because I do like YouTube and I'm very intentional with YouTube. Instagram is hidden. In fact, actually, all of the social media and things are hidden. Instagram, I like sharing stories during the day, and that is fine. But I haven't put back on things like Vinted or eBay or any of the kind of things where you can just waste. I can just waste time. And that's it. And I have found it transformational, particularly the emails, because emails were things that I respond to. Rather than being in control, I would respond to things. I don't need to know any of this stuff in my day-to-day thing. I just need to deal with it in a timely way when I get home on a computer. And I'll let you know how it goes, because it is a process. But I am finding that I'm getting much more read, and once I'm kind of settled and into a book, that is me. I can now read for an hour or 2 hours rather than doing it in sort of 10, 15 minutes. So let me just check this kind of thing. Now, you may not have a problem with your phone. But if you do, I would really suggest just deleting an app at a time until you find which is the one that triggers you. And you might find that it's not social media, but that it's something like emails or WhatsApp or whatever, where you are being very reactive. So that's my two tales for today. One, I have my nails, and two, I'm really trying to renegotiate my relationship with my phone, because the thing is that I video everything on my phone. So I have my phone with me, and what I would like it to be is something that I can use as a camera. Maybe I should just get a camera and get rid of my phone altogether. Who knows? Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I do feel this has been a little bit rambly and a little bit dog barking. But I do think that we tend to beat ourselves up about things that we really shouldn't. And that often it's just a case of making things easy for ourselves and treating it all as a bit of an experiment to see whether we can change our behavior in ways that we want. The other thing is that you don't have to change your behavior at all if you don't want to. If you are quite happy with your phone use and the state of your nails, or the amount of exercise you're taking, or the way that you eat, or any of the things that we get bombarded about, just carry on carrying on. Anyway, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments about any habits that you have managed to change through things that aren't willpower. Because I think that willpower is not a thing. I really don't think it is a thing. Or certainly not enough of a thing to make people into superior characters. They're just lucky. Anyway, I will see you next Friday when I will show you how to do some bundle dyeing of some beautiful yarn. And I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye bye.